or give them a call at 800-4-RELIEF. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Developed by a team of doctors and scientists, Relief Factor's unique of natural ingredients doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or eliminate it for good. Whether it's your back, neck, your joints, your muscles, Relief Factor can help you, as it has for so many others. Give Relief Factor's 3-week quick start a try. It's only $19.95, a low-cost way for you to sort of take it out for a test drive. Less than $1 a day. Go to ReliefFactor.com, ReliefFactor.com, or call 800-4-RELIEF. That's 800, the number 4-RELIEF. See how you can live with less pain, and you can say yes to more of everything you want with Relief Factor.
Enough with the ads.
The Japanese company is halting a $1.6 billion BMW electronic vehicle battery factory in South Carolina for now.
South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster says the company is dealing with the potential loss of federal tax breaks for electric vehicle buyers and incentives for EV businesses, as well as tariff uncertainties under the Trump administration. Automotive Energy Supply Corporation announced the halt on construction Thursday, but didn't say why, and it's promising to restart the building eventually and hire 1,600 workers. The company says it already invested $1 billion. I'm Donna Warner.
A federal judge has signed off on a major change in college sports, clearing the way for schools to begin paying their athletes. The terms include approval for each school to share up to $20.5 million with athletes.
Everything has to be about money now.
$2.7 billion that will be paid to thousands of former players. Breaking news at townhall.com.
Really? College athletes have to get paid now?
Reports the manhunt intensifies in Washington State.
What happened to just like
accused of the unthinkable,
playing the game for
killing his own
fun?
daughters.
The search expands for former Army soldier Travis Decker, accused of killing his 3 young daughters in Washington State. Authorities closed campgrounds and backpacking areas along the Pacific Crest Trail, telling people to keep their doors locked in a search for the 32-year-old. Dozens of additional law enforcement joining that manhunt. Governor Bob Ferguson also deploying the National Guard. Decker's daughters, ages 5, 8, and 9, were found dead at a campsite outside Leavenworth on Monday. The girls' mother reported them missing when Decker did not return them after a scheduled visit. I'm Julie Walker.
You'll find more on these stories, plus breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Ron Taylor reporting.
Okay, let's see.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host and do not express the views of WDDF ownership or Hometown Talk Radio. Content aired on all programs are those of the host and their guests.
It's 278. No, 270. Dumbass.
Hey, Joey, what's happening?
What's that for?
I mean, what's happening in Middleboro and surrounding towns? It's time for the Middleboro Weekly Review with your host, Joey Driscoll. Stay tuned for news.
Yeah, I read it.
Middleboro news.
Oh, the read. I'll definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Joey, what's happening?
What am I doing? Yeah, alright. And good morning, everybody, and welcome to Middleboro in Review. I am Joe Driscoll. Today is the 8th of June, 2025. Today's Sunday. That's a yeah.
That's a yeah. You said Joe Driscoll?
Yeah, Joe. Yeah, my name is Joe. Joe, Joey, however you want to say it. I don't care. Okay.
Didn't Tony just say Joey?
I don't know.
Joe?
Yeah, I think so.
Joey?
Yeah.
Joseph?
Alright, we're going to get right into it today because we got a lot to get to. Alright, Taunton, 63 degrees, high of 72, low of 57 today. Cloudy skies today, throughout the day today with a little bit of wind. No rain in the forecast, which is a good thing, I guess, right, Don? We just had our 13th Saturday in a row where it rained, so...
Yeah, it was pretty rough yesterday for a while.
Tomorrow we have a chance of rain, 40%, high of 69, low of 56. In Newport Richey, Florida, 79 degrees, high of 88, low of 78. I'm done.
Yes.
Give us a little bit of background where
Port Richey's in Florida. It is on the west coast of Florida, north of Clearwater, Dunedin, Tarpon Springs. It's one town north of Holiday, Florida, and obviously we got family who live there, and that's why you hear about Port Richey. But it's a nice spot. It's it's like a Tampa suburb in a way, but North Clearwater on US 19.
All right, 79 degrees right now, high of 88, low of 78. And clear skies today with a wind gust up to 12 miles per hour, so it's going to feel pretty nice in Port Richey. In Middleboro, cloudy skies, cloudy throughout the day, wind gusts at 12 miles per hour, 63 degrees currently, 70 for the high, low of 57 today, 40% chance of rain tomorrow, high of 57, low of 56. In Frisco, Texas, 94 degrees. Wind seems to be the story of the day here for our weather locations. Wind gusts up to 18 miles per hour. Cloudy conditions expected throughout the morning, gradually clearing off throughout the day. High of 95, low of 79 tomorrow, and windy. In Driscoll, North Dakota, it is 50 degrees with the air quality index warning. It seems like currently the air quality index is 156. And that is not a good number. You don't want those numbers that high.
Is that from the fires in
I
Canada?
believe that is from the fires in Canada, yes. Unhealthy air currently, 156 air quality index, which again, you don't want that. You don't want it that high. Wind is also making things a little bit of a nightmare with that, I think, too. It is windy today. High of 60, low of 49. With the wind, because it is pretty windy, it feels like a 37 degrees in June in Driscoll, North Dakota. Tomorrow, 71 degrees, low of 50. So we have that going on there. Now, we have our Today in Histories. 1856 for June 8th, a group of 194 Pitcairn Islanders, descendants of the mutineers of the MHS Bounty, arrive at Norfolk Island, commencing the third settlement of the island. 1906, June 8th, Theodore Roosevelt signs the Antiquities Act into law, authorizing the president to restrict the use of certain parcels of public land with historical or conservation value. And Roosevelt did a really great job with national parks and things like that. Theodore Roosevelt was very well known for that. So.
Oh yeah, he really was. He's the one who really got that going, especially up in the Adirondacks, up in New York. Yeah.
All right, 1717, John Collins, American lawyer and politician, the third governor of Rhode Island, was born on this day. June 8th, 1810, Robert Schumann, German composer and critic. You'll hear him sometimes on our morning show, Musical Odyssey, with Ed Sutka. I apologize, I was blanking on the name for a second. Ed Sutka. You hear that at 11 a.m. Every Sunday morning. 1842, John Huey Brackett, American lawyer and politician. He was the 36th governor of Massachusetts. 1918, Robert Preston, American actor and singer, was born on this day. 1925, born 100 years ago today, Barbara Bush, American wife of George H.W. Bush, the 41st First Lady of the United States. 1927, Jerry Stiller, American actor, comedian and producer. 1933, Joan Rivers, born on this day, American comedian, actress, and television host. 1940, Nancy Sinatra, born on this day in 1940. Don, you'll like this next one. June 8th, 1944, Boz Scaggs, American singer-songwriter and guitarist. Lido,
Yeah.
Really good song.
That's a good song.
Kind
Kind of a funky song,
Exactly, yeah, no.
You can't sing on the air because the...
it was a hit, obviously.
Because
it was great,
whoever takes care of the monitoring about the. We'll come to this, Alan. Last captain, come to this, Alan.
1951, born in the state in 1951. You might have heard Eclipse of the Heart several times last year when right around the time we were having that eclipse take place. Eclipse of the Heart was played
Bonnie Raitt?
many
Bonnie
times.
Tyler.
So many times on the radio.
Bonnie Tyler, right?
Bonnie Tyler was born on this day in 1951. And born on this day in 1994. Wrestling fans, if you were watching Worlds Collide last night, you saw her briefly on the card. She wasn't wrestling or anything last night on Worlds Collide or on Money in the Bank, but she did appear on Worlds Collide last night. Liv Morgan, born on this day in 1994. She is 31 today. All right, our passings for today. In 1809, Thomas Paine, English-American theorist and author. 1845, Andrew Jackson, American general, judge, and politician, the 7th President of the United States of America. 2013, Paul Cellucci, American soldier and politician, the 69th Governor of Massachusetts, Don.
Yes.
And 2023, Pat Robertson passed away, American evangelist, televangelist, again, passing away on this day 2 years ago today. All right, so that is your routine history, birthdays, and passings. Now, a little bit of a read to do here. What?
No, just keep an eye on the call coming, right?
Let's take the break, and then we will do this read because we are coming up on a break. Here we go, man. I gotta call Spark Street tomorrow. Here before the 7:30 news break. We're going to do like a 3-minute news break, and then when we come back from that news break, we will have the interview the second of 3 times I'm going to be playing this interview. Played it on Friday. It is with the grandson of Arlo Guthrie, Mo Guthrie. Played it on Friday for Hometown Talk. I'm going to be playing it today here for the second half of Middleboro in Review, and I'll be playing it for the second half of Middleboro Matters tomorrow morning, so that all 3 of my shows you can get a chance to listen to this interview that I did. This was on Tuesday when we did this. So, I'm excited to play it again, and again on tomorrow as well, so stay tuned later on the show today, and also tomorrow as well to Middleboro in Review if you're unable to listen to the whole
Middleboro Matters.
I'm sorry, Middleboro Matters.
Yeah.
On Middleboro Matters if you're unable to listen to the entire interview today. Anyway, we have a read here that I want to do for Arlo Guthrie. So, Arlo Guthrie, born on this, not born on this day, what am I saying? Born on July 10th. His birthday is coming up. He's getting there with his birthday, but not today, obviously. July 10th, Don, is his birthday, 1947. American folk singer, songwriter. I just want to quickly shout out Jim DuPont, because this is a read that I got from Jim DuPont a couple of years ago, actually, and I kept this. This was something that he did, and so I just want to give a shout out to Jim DuPont on that. Arlo Guthrie is an American folk singer-songwriter. He is known for singing songs of protest against social injustice and storytelling while performing songs, following the tradition of his father, Woody Guthrie. Guthrie's best-known work is his debut piece, which is Alice's Restaurant, a satirical talking blues song about 18 minutes in length that has since become a Thanksgiving anthem. Every year on Thanksgiving, you'll be able to hear it. Twice, I believe, right, Don? I think 12 and 3.
Yeah, it really depends on the radio station.
Okay.
BCN really started it around here, back in the, right around when in the 70s or whatnot. BCN was like one of the first radio stations that do the tradition of the song.
He had one top 40 hit, his cover of Steve Goodman's City of New Orleans. His song Massachusetts was named the official folk song of the state in which he lived most of his adult life. Guthrie has also made several acting appearances. He is the father of 4 children. They've also had careers as musicians. It's mentioned in the interview with Guthrie that one of those family members will be at the Guthrie Center this summer. So you'll get to hear all about that in a few minutes here. On November 26, 1965, on Stockbridge, Massachusetts, during Thanksgiving break, from his brief stint in college, 18-year-old Guthrie and his friend Richard Robbins were arrested for illegally dumping on private property, which Guthrie described as a half-ton of garbage, from the home of his friends, teachers Ray and Alice Brock. After he discovered the local landfill was closed for the holiday, Guthrie and Robbins appeared in court, pled guilty to the charges, were levied a nominal fine, and picked up the garbage that weekend. This littering charge served as a basis for Guthrie's most famous work, Alice's Restaurant, a talking blues song that runs 18 minutes and 34 seconds in its original recorded version. In 1997, Guthrie jokingly pointed out that this was also the exact length of one of the infamous gaps in Richard Nixon's Watergate tapes.
Yeah, it's so funny. He did it over, he thinks that Nixon was listening to Alice's Restaurant. That was so cute.
The Alice in the song is Alice Brock, who had been a librarian at Arlo's boarding school in the town before opening her restaurant. She later opened an art studio in Provincetown, Massachusetts. Just heard this past November that she had passed away as well. Guthrie owns a home in Washington, Massachusetts, where he and Jackie Hyde, who was his wife for 43 years, were longtime residents. Jackie died on October 14, 2012, shortly after being diagnosed with liver cancer. His second wife, Marty Ladd, now split time between Washington and Mico, Florida. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. If I'm not, what's it called? And correct me on that. In the winter. So that is the read up there.
Well, the name of the song is Alice's Restaurant Massacre.
Yeah.
That's the complete name of the song.
Yes.
And it's really a tradition to hear that song on Thanksgiving. I mean, everyone plays it. It's nationwide. It's not just around here. It's nationwide. I mean, everyone plays it. You could have a hard rock station, and they'd probably play it. And on the interview with Mo, I remember hearing WAAF playing it, and they play like rock and roll. They don't play folk music, but the DJ said this is probably the only time. This is the only time you'll hear folk music.
Yeah.
And you'll hear it next year, and you'll hear and it just goes to show that a song, folk song, can just stop. On one particular day, can stop all these radio stations in their tracks and get the airplay for noontime.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what it is. I mean, to a certain degree. Noontime, you can guarantee if you probably dial around on the radio stations on noontime, Thanksgiving coming up, probably four or five stations will probably be playing Alice's Restaurant at 12 o'clock, and or 3 o'clock, or 4 o'clock. But you hear it, and that's pretty powerful stuff in my opinion. That's just a tradition that will never. And it seems like everyone's on board from it too. And people, like I said, BCN, I think was one of the first stations to do it.
Yeah.
In Boston area.
All right, so that's a little bit right up there on Arlo Guthrie. Again, I want to thank Jim DuPont for giving this to me a couple of years ago. He wrote this up, and he talked about this on one of his shows a couple of years ago, and he gave me this to keep, and I've kept it all these years, and now we're talking about it again. Arlo Guthrie.
You talked about the Steve Goodman song. He does a cover of Steve Goodman's City of New Orleans.
Yes.
And I'll tell you a story about that. Growing up in the late 70s in Boston, it was a challenge, 56, everyone knows it.
Yeah.
And used to watch Tom and Jerry and the Flintstones. Tom and Jerry go on at 7, Flintstones come on at 7:30. And right before, they play a few songs. You got the little chill 56 number, it's still picture on the TV. But about 10 minutes, a quarter, they'll play songs. And every morning, they played City of New Orleans by Al Guthrie. Mm-hmm. And I always made sure I got up early to hear that song. So for years, as long as I was living in Quincy, where I was living, between 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, I'd always get up and listen to that song. Even if I was sleeping in and it was a day off and they'd still play it, I'd get up, listen to it, and go back to bed. Mm-hmm. That song was so important to me. There's something about it. Just got me out of bed. Try to get a kid out of bed at 7 in the morning sometimes.
Very difficult.
Yeah, it's impossible. Very difficult. But that song got me out of bed. But that version. And I've seen I heard other versions. Steve Goodman's all right. Willie Nelson did that version, but no one does it like Arlo. No. Arlo just took that song and made it his own. Yeah. And there's a funny story, because if you check out YouTube and, some of the Arlo Guthrie concerts that are out there, he talks about how he met Steve Goodman. And he says, well, you got to buy me a beer. And I want you to hear the song. Arlo. So, and that was the story behind that.
All right, 7:28 a.m. Let's take our last commercial break at the hour right now, and then the news break, and we'll be right back with the Mo Guthrie interview. And I just want to thank everyone for, because by the time the interview is over, it'll be 8 o'clock. So I want to thank everyone for listening to the show today, and we'll be back next week. So enjoy the Mo Guthrie interview.
You just talked today, huh?
I know. Enjoy the Mo Guthrie interview coming right up. Oh, boy. All right. Come on.
Man.
And my fingers are all
Everything.
Wednesday at 9 a.m. by listening to Coffee with Tony. That's 9 to 11. Tune in to get the heartbeat of Taunton and tell us what you think.
Yeah, Scott's right.
What?
The song was also about the draft.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think the whole idea of that is he didn't, they didn't take him in the Army because of
News
that.
this hour from townhall.com. I'm Michael Harrington. U.S.-China trade talks in London this week expected to take up a series of disputes that have buffeted relations. Both sides agreed in Geneva last month to a 90-day suspension of most of the tariffs they had imposed on each other in an escalating trade war. A surprisingly strong jobs report helped the stock market end the first week of the month with gains.
American employers grew their payrolls by 139,000 jobs last month, a better number than analysts were expecting. Although there were manufacturing and federal job cuts in May, hiring in healthcare and leisure and hospitality more than offset the loss. The unemployment rate held at 4.2%. The NASDAQ led the way last week, advancing more than 2%. The S&P gained 1.5%. The Dow rose just over 1%. Rich Thomason, Washington.
Interpol says an investigation began in Spain to track child pornography has led to the arrest of 20 people.
Police officials identified online messaging groups circulating child sexual exploitation images. Spanish authorities now have arrested 7 suspects, including a healthcare worker and a teacher. The healthcare worker allegedly paid minors in Eastern Europe for explicit images, while the teacher is accused of possessing and sharing child sexual abuse material via various online platforms. Authorities in Latin America have arrested 10 others in 7 countries, including 3 in El Salvador and a teacher in Panama. The remaining suspects were arrested in other parts of Europe and the US. I'm Charles Gilbert.
Senate Republicans have made changes to their party's sweeping tax bill in
There we
hopes
go.
of preserving new policy
It's
that
the
would prevent
replay
states
machine
from
sometimes.
regulating
It
AI.
hits buttons twice when I don't think it does. So like I'm trying to type in the number and it accidentally adds another number that I didn't.
Doesn't the numbers pop up on the display?
No, when you type up, hit find, and then you hit the numbers. Sometimes it hits it twice. When I don't want that to happen.
Is key. That's why if you're dealing with everyday aches and pains, it's time to bring Relief Factor into your life. Head over to ReliefFactor.com or give them a call at 800-4RELIEF and get their 3-week quick start for just $19.95. Relief Factor is the daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Developed by a team of doctors that uses a special formula for 4 natural ingredients.
We didn't mention
Relief Factor
that.
doesn't just mask the pain, it helps
What?
reduce
The movie.
In fact, the
We
longer
didn't
you
mention
take
the movie.
Relief Factor, the more effective it is to get your days going without any pain. Sleep and get you out of pain by taking their 3-week quick start. It's only $19.95.
I think the movie was
less than
done.
$1 a
What
day.
was the
Simply
movie done,
call
69?
800-4RELIEF. 800 the number 4RELIEF. Wherever you're having pain, neck, shoulders, hips, knees, don't let it keep you from living the life you want to live. Make Relief Factor part of your daily routine. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800 the number 4RELIEF.
Dallas is West Point.
Ukraine says a large Russian drone and missile attack has targeted the eastern city of Kharkiv, killing at least 3 people and injuring 21. Local Ukrainian officials say the attack yesterday included deadly aerial
1969.
glide bombs.
Okay.
The Air Force also said that it struck Russia with 215 missiles and drones overnight. The Ukrainian air defenses shot down and neutralized 87 drones and 7 missiles as well. Kharkiv's mayor says the barrage also damaged 18 apartment buildings and 13 private homes. Italians are voting over 2 days on referendums that would make it easier for children born in Italy to foreigners to obtain citizenship and on providing more job protections. But apparent low public awareness risks rendering the vote invalid if turnout is not high enough. The referendum will fail if 50% plus 1 of eligible voters don't turn out. The measures were proposed by Italy's main union and left-wing opposition parties. Views and analysis at townhall.com. Customers mourning the loss of Joanne Fabrics can go to another craft store for their supplies now.
Craft labels from the now shuttered fabric seller Joanne are making
Yeah,
their way
Michael's
to
just
home.
bought like the entire intellectual
Michael's
property.
companies announced it had completed the purchase of Joanne's intellectual property and private label
I
brands.
mean, yeah, they're technically going away, but they're technically not because Michael's could just like
to expand its own fabric sewing and yarn.
bring back the name.
Financial terms of the acquisition were not disclosed. Joanne announced it would be going out of business back in February.
Michael could just bring back the name. So
President Trump walked out to a
They're not-
standing
oh,
ovation
they're not
last night
going
before
away.
the start of the UFC pay-per-view card at the Prudential Center, taking a break from his busy schedule to watch the fierce fights inside the cage. Mr. Trump was accompanied by UFC
You know what?
President Dana White, two of them.
We've seen Alice's restaurant, right?
Card last
Yes.
November in New York.
You know the train Rocky goes on?
Stories to tell all that? No.
They take the train up. That's the Wasaic line, I think. The Wasaic line is the one that goes like to Great Barrington, I believe. Maybe not.
okay. Sometimes it takes a second to load up.
And good morning, everybody, and welcome to Middleboro Review. And on Fridays, we're also going to air this on Friday, Hometown Talk, the Friday edition of Hometown Talk. And I am here with Mo Guthrie. Good morning, Mo.
Good morning, very happy to be here.
And we're also here with Don.
Good.
Thanks for taking the time to meet with us, Mo. The drive out here was beautiful. We come from Middleboro.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, we go from the cranberry world, the road country to the first shows to the mountains.
The second cranberry capital of the world.
I think where it all started back in 1965, right?
The events, I believe so. Yep, I believe so.
Thanksgiving, 1965. We are at the Al Guthrie Cultural Center with Mo Guthrie, who runs it, right? You run it and you do day-to-day operations. Tell us what you do here as far as the day-to-day operations there.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So, again, as I said, my name is Mo Guthrie. Arlo is my grandfather. And I'm the director here at the Guthrie Center in Great Barrington, Mass. And our day-to-day is, quite a bit. We've got a lot of hats that we wear here down at the church. But first and foremost, we're a community center. So we hold community programming here weekly, such as our free community lunch or our musical instrument lending library. And so my job is to maintain the center if it's day-to-day, capacity, and to keep the mission going that Arlo set for this place when he founded it over 32 years ago.
If you listen on YouTube, and you type in Al Guthrie, and you type in Amazing Grace, there's one that pops up on my algorithms for sure. He talks about this place. I think it was like a 1994 or 93 concert he was doing. And he talked about how the old really about what this meant to him. And it's one of the most moving songs I've ever seen. So he bought this in 1991, I believe.
Correct. So it was 1991 that the Guthrie Center was formed. And I'm not sure off the top of my head, it might not have been until 92 that actually everything was done and the center was here in the building. But things really started, moving in 91. And when he did that, he had a mission and a vision for this place, that it would be a space where folks from all different walks of life and all different, backgrounds could gather for musical, cultural, and spiritual exchange. And so that's what we've been doing for, since those times.
It's funny in that Amazing Grace, you say it was him walking out, and the old pastor came by and they're like, well, what are you doing out? And I said, just walking out. No, what kind of church is this? And he's like, Bring Your Own God Church. And that's the only, and he's playing Amazing Grace, and it kind of, all talk and,
Yeah.
and I've always been a Guthrie fan because of Alice's restaurants and every other thing. But what are your favorite songs that Alice has done?
So, that's a tough question.
Tough to have a favorite one, right?
It is. It's tough to have a favorite one. I will say that growing up, the album that I listened to the most was Mystic Journey.
And it's actually lesser known to a lot of folks, but there's a few songs on there that just spoke to me, especially as a young man. And so I've always loved that. And I've also gone through phases of, appreciating different times in Arlo's career, and seeing his different take on some of the older songs, some of the cowboy songs he was recording at different times. But I would have to say Mystic Journey is my favorite album.
You have a favorite song on that album that you recall?
Moon Song. The Moon Song is my favorite.
For me, it's tough to have one because he's everywhere. But you can listen to a song like Darkest Hour, which is unbelievable. It brings tears in my eyes every time I hear it.
Sorry guys, if I speak over this, can you let it?
Yeah.
I'm recording.
We'll leave it right. Make it real.
Sorry.
Come on down. Hello.
This is my sister Jacqueline, guys.
Hi, Jacqueline. That's all right. Pleased to meet you. My name's John. I'm Joey. So you're
So, no problem.
Thank you very much. That's fine. Speak around.
Exactly. So, a real interview here. So, what are some of your favorite artists that are performing here at the Guthrie Center?
Ooh, that's a tough question. I'll say this. I can't shout out one or two that are my favorites, but I'll say this. Everyone who is on our roster is very well thought out. We take a lot of time and effort into producing our seasons here. And so, folks from Tom Rush to Chris Smither, who was here last Saturday, these are all amazing artists, and we feel super blessed to have them here. But, I guess I am a little biased in some ways. So, for instance, not this week, but next week, we have my cousin Cole Quest and the City Pickers coming. So if I had to shout out one for this season, I'd say my cousin Cole is going to be my favorite this year.
And we sit in the sanctuary, which is pretty much the footprint for the church itself.
Yeah.
And they've done a little work with the wall, in between. We're sitting in the sanctuary, and this is where the stage and audience area. How many, you said it fits 92 people, you can get 92 people there.
Yeah, so our current capacity for our performances is 92 individuals. We found that for this space, that's the magic number. That's what allows people to be comfortable and still have the charm of a small venue where it's it's a little bit more connected than something where you have a few hundred seats in the room.
Right.
We're not a theater here. We're like I said, first and foremost, we're a community center.
Right.
But these concerts and bringing music into our community, especially in this setting where it's a little bit more intimate, is part of the charm of the Guthrie Center for me, anyhow.
Yeah. And as far as since 6 years old,
Yes.
we've always listened to Alice's songs and Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Always with a football game.
Oh yeah, everything's
We leave early because we'd set ourselves right in the radio, and it was 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock.
Oh yeah.
And there was a station, AAF, in Boston, and I remember they played it. This is the only time that I was at the song. So I mean, even a hot rock station would play it on Thanksgiving because it was so intertwined with the culture of Thanksgiving and the folklore of it all.
Yeah.
And to be sitting there and knowing, 50, 55, 60 years ago, all these people were here,
Yeah.
and playing this old song is how Guthrie would say. And I have to say, you have to listen to that song because it really, the way Arlo, in my opinion, tells the story about what's happening, it's just, there's no one like it at all, as far as the way he does it.
Yeah, and you can really see the spirit of that, of Thanksgiving here in the building on Thanksgiving Day. So every year for the past.
Who's invited on Thanksgiving? Just family?
No, so we do a free, open to the public, feed everyone Thanksgiving dinner here, and we have been. This last year was our 19th year. And so, of course, we have capacities, so folks, reserve their spaces in advance, but everyone is welcome. I mean, that's a part of, that's kind of the whole point, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter if we are where you're coming from. If we've got space on Thanksgiving Day, you're welcome to be here, you're welcome to be with us. And the program, of course, it helps folks who might be having a tough time with food insecurity, but that's not the only point of it. It's to gather in a community setting and to engage with people and sit at a table and have a Thanksgiving that can't be beat.
It can't be beat, And one other question about Thanksgiving is, your grandfather usually there, or hit or miss, or it depends, and...
He tries to be here, but you never know. I can't speak to, his plans, what's going to happen in the future.
Right.
But, if he's in town, he's come by when he's available, but sometimes he's out of town on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, right.
It's just how it is.
Yeah, but he knows this is being well taken care of.
Yeah, absolutely. We really, Arlo is the founder of this place, and so we take that to heart and everything we do.
So you mentioned your cousin will be here this year for one of the concerts during this season. What are some of the other artists going to have this season?
So we've got quite a few. We've got Mary Gaucher, who will be here for her first time at the Guthrie Center, and that will be in August. We've also got Joe Crookston. Tom Rush will be here, accompanied by Matt Nakoa, and many, many more. It's pretty amazing how many awesome artists that we can get to come down and play in a venue that's artists might not otherwise play such a small place like this.
Yeah, I mean the history behind all this.
Yeah.
Even people who don't like folk music, like ours. Really?
Yeah.
It's true. It's just one of those songs.
Yeah.
I mean, I was talking to my brother and my nephew, and I was saying, well, yesterday we were heading out there with you, and anyone knows what else is us.
Yeah.
Song.
I've got a funny story about it, if you don't mind me trailing for a second.
Sure.
So, I've been married for about 4 years now, and I've known my wife since high school. And we've been together for quite some time. And so it was years ago that we were preparing for a Thanksgiving dinner here at the church. And on the way home, my wife said, Mo, I've never actually listened to the song. And so I said, oh, this is a great opportunity. We got a 40-minute drive. I'll put it on and we'll listen to it on our way home. And so we do, and we listen to it, and at the end of it, she says, oh, yeah, that's actually a great song. It's actually really good. And so basically, she's just been flattering me and my grandmother the whole time. She never listened to it. And so finally, I believe this was maybe 2 or 3 years ago, we finally got her to actually listen to the whole thing on the way home. And it clicked with her. You know what I mean? Like, she immediately had a reaction to it. She had just never listened to it before.
I used to play with my friends. We had a lot of people friends who got to get together and play rock and roll. This was years ago, but coming to Los Angeles,
yeah, that's a great thing.
It's just such fun.
Yeah,
it's just fun, and he plays it so differently live to the recording. Listen to the recording. You listen to the Woodstock version. That's different.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm 58, and I've been listening to Howard Duffy since I was 15.
Yeah.
So you kind of know every little thing he says, and as far as how many times you've listened to the music. I got caught up in sitting here and recite the whole. That was the first one in front of me.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'd say it's a soundtrack of your life.
Yeah, that's an amazing thing.
And your grandpa's touched on so many people. And touched me personally, and Joey, and I mean, he's 26, it's going to be
26
and 58, and we're talking about generation gap here.
Right.
And then people, your grandfather's age, people in the 60s, they all elevate to what's going on here. It just makes it here.
Well, it's a great example of how music can bring folks together, even through those age gaps, and you can share something in common, the like of a song or the feeling that a song gives you. That's something I think is timeless.
We listen to a artist that thinks Glenn Hughes, and he always says music's the healer.
Yeah.
And no matter how tough a day you have, you can put something on, and it's comfort. It's like comfort food in a way, but it's not food. It's music.
Food for the soul.
Yeah. Don't want to get time too much. I'll ask you just as far as the events of what happened on that Thanksgiving Eve day.
Yeah.
Your grandfather sit down and talk to you about that. I mean, I know trying to make something out of nothing, because obviously we all know what happened for him, but
Yeah.
is there something that he might have told you that we don't know?
So I'll be honest, it's not something that we discussed growing up, because to us in the family, he was just Pop, I still call him Pop,
Yeah.
And he would take us out on the road as a family group, and we would do shows and things of that nature. But to be honest, we didn't sit down and talk about events that much, or the events of Alice's Restaurant. Now, that being said, the way that I've found cool things out or learned more has actually been through being here at the church. Because part of what we do here is we care for Arlo's archive. And my mother heads that, that program. As a matter of fact, we have some folks upstairs right now going through some archives for a project they're doing unrelated. And so it wasn't like I said, it wasn't like we sat down and discussed Alice's Restaurant, but it's cool to go through the old files and to see things, that kind of are parts to the story. We have a letter from Arlo's old dean of students, basically, at one point, kind of saying something along the lines of he couldn't believe a Stockbridge alumni would behave in such a way, and then at the end of the letter it says, P.S. I'm glad things are going well. So you find cool things like that in the archive, and I think that that's been a way for me to engage and learn more about Arlo's history, more so than just sitting around telling stories.
I think Arlo's more tongue-in-cheek in a way, too.
Yeah.
And I really, as far as a performer and maybe a singer, I can appreciate that kind of performance or whatnot.
Yeah.
And Arlo, just listening to the Carry On song, and like I said, I go back to that Amazing Grace live video. I think it was 93 or 94, whatever. He talks about Bosnia.
Yeah.
Okay? So, that happened around 92, 93. So, you figure he's been around a long time, but he's talking about all these different problems that happened.
Yeah.
And I'm looking on can you just tell me a little bit of what's on the walls out front? You got all those plaques on the walls.
Yeah. So we're actually getting ready we just took down an exhibit that we had here at the church, and that exhibit was called Arlo Guthrie, Native Son. And so we just took that down, and we're getting ready to put up a new exhibit, and it will be Arlo Guthrie all over the world. So the plaques that you see out in the lobby right now are the beginning, the process of us setting up for that new exhibit. And this exhibit will be a little different from the last, as it will focus on events that Arlo either had a part in or had something to say about. Everything from the fact that Arlo was in Europe when the wall in Germany was taken down, to the March on Washington, things of that nature. And so our goal with that program is to share Arlo's legacy, not just as a songwriter and as a storyteller, but as an individual who, was a part of some pretty life-changing, world-changing things. And so what you see out there is incomplete, but we'll hope to release the full exhibit in the next week or so.
Right. We're on the subject of things that are on the wall. We talked about what's in the other room there. We're in the room with the stage here. There are pictures of people here on the walls here. Do you have any... what's the word?
Who are they?
Who are they?
I'm looking at the picture behind you. Who are those individuals there?
So all of these individuals are ancestors, Guthrie ancestors from Scotland. So the Guthrie Center does not actually own these, but we care for them, and they stay here at the church. And these were in the home of these ancestors. There is a location in Scotland called Guthrie Castle, and these items were all there. The castle is no longer owned by any family member or anyone who associates with the Guthries. And so when they were removed from the residence, they made their way here. And so we care for them. Some of these are late 1700s, early 1800s paintings. And this is, Arlo does trace his lineage back to these individuals.
I'm looking at the picture on the left of the stage. Is that Woody?
That is, yep, that's
I've seen
Woody.
a couple pictures of Woody.
Yeah.
And what has your grandfather told you about his father?
Well,
in a way, what we all don't know from text and from videos and stuff like that. I'm not asking Of course, for family, sometimes they, bums the word on that, but I'm just saying, anything,
Yeah, I think that for me, what resonates from my experience and things that I've learned, especially in the family about Woody, was his take on individuals and the fact that all individuals are people and that all folks are more or less the same. We have different practices in our cultures. We have different things that we do, but we're all just trying to get by, and that's what resonates about Woody to me. I don't know what resonates to other folks, but I can tell you that I believe that, Woody truly was an individual who, saw past our differences and tried to connect people through our commonalities. And that's something that I've learned through talking to my grandfather and through talking to my mother and through seeing archives. My grandfather has a really nice way of saying it, and it's kind of a bit of a slogan that we use here at the church, and it's that there are no throwaway people. And I think that that's something that might have been influenced a bit by his father.
I keep bringing back this, the song, Amazing Grace, and he talks about the rabbits.
Yeah.
He talks about the rabbits, a joke that his father told him.
Right, the multiplying rabbits.
Yeah. Just wait them up. But just the way he says it, how he does the joke. And as far as Joey and I, we worked together for the last 6 years on a radio show called Middleboro and Review on WBBF 1530 and 99.7. And Joey's on, he works full time. He's my boss for 1 day a week. 1 hour.
1 hour a week.
But the thing is, we do talk stories.
Yeah.
And I think I've done a lot of that storytelling, and the way I talk is from listening to Harlow.
Yeah.
Because no one else really does what he does as far as the storytelling.
Yeah. No, he's truly individual in that regard. I mean, he's a heck of a storyteller, not just on stage. You had brought up earlier that you've asked about things that he might have shared or stories that he might have shared. And I'll be honest with you, the majority of the stories that I remember were just fun stories. He would tell me and my cousins stories, and we had one, Pigs in Space. I remember it very clearly. It was a totally silly theme. I'll never forget that, because he could take that theme and run it into a story that would carry on for weeks, on rides home from wherever we may have been,
And you never get sick of listening to it.
And I'll never forget it.
On the stage, on that particular song, 92, 93, 94, whatever it was, maybe I should have looked at the year, but he said his own kids were on the stage.
Yeah.
Who toured with him back in the day?
All of us. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
All of us?
All of us at one point or another. So every immediate family member that I can think of, except for everyone I can think of, we had all been out at one point or another on the road. So way back in the 80s, it was my mother's generation, and it was my mother Annie, my aunt Sarah Lee, my aunt Kathy, Abe, playing and singing, and
on stage with them.
On stage. And then when we got older, and my generation got older, it was the grandkids too. And I was a young man, a young teenager. The last time that we did a big family tour, I believe, was in 2012, and that was all of us. There were 16 of us or something like that, and it didn't matter, if it was the little kids, they couldn't play guitars or anything at that point, but they would get up and sing, and so, Arlo really did an amazing thing by taking the whole family on, anybody who wanted to be a part of his music.
That's just...
We have about 2 minutes here left in this segment. What are some of the last things you want people to know about the Guthrie Center and some events that are coming up here for the month of June here at the Guthrie Center?
And also to any volunteering ways of volunteering.
Yeah. I would say, first of all, I just want folks to know about the Guthrie Center that this is a community space, first and foremost. As I had mentioned earlier, we hold these events as a part of what we do, but our mission is to be here to make a positive impact in the lives of the people in this community. And so I would encourage people, if you're curious about the place, you just want to stop by, to visit our website or come on down and see the space, because it really is something special we've got going on here. I can't think of another place in the world that pairs such an amazing musical legacy with live music and with community service. And so it's a beautiful thing, and I would encourage people to look more into us and come on down. And as far as our events go, over the next few months, we've got an amazing lineup. Every single Saturday night, there's a performance here. Some of them are sold out because, we're a small venue and things go fast. But we've got a performance every Saturday here, all the way through August, and some other special events that I would encourage folks to keep an eye on our website that we'll be announcing in the next few weeks.
So that sounds awesome. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
And I just have one thing about you. When I talked to you, I think I got early in February, I think I left a message. You called right now.
Well, we tried to.
I mean, I closed on Monday. I left a message on the weekend, 10:05, and I know we opened at 10. I had a message left for me on my phone.
Well,
10:05. It was like, talk about consistency. I was like, I like this job already. They call you, people call. They leave you, they don't call you back, and I was just like, it's just part of the way you brought up, and just how things, it's just way to be, in my opinion. That's why I was impressed with you, and I wanted to meet you.
Well, I'm happy to be a part of this interview, and I'm happy to have met you guys, and that's what we're here to do. The whole point is to treat everybody with the same dignity and respect and time of day as everybody else, because we're all just folks.
So
I felt that I made friends today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. And so thank you to Mo Guthrie for this interview, and this is Joey Driscoll and Don Driscoll signing off here.
Good job, buddy. A great interview. Kevin Wentz said the interview was good. I asked him to be really honest. He said the You want to go down? No, I'll talk to him. Get all set. I got to talk to him about something.
Business Hour from townhall.com. I'm Michael Harrington. U.S.-China trade talks in London this week expected to take up a series of disputes that have buffeted relations. Both sides agreed in Geneva last month to a 90-day suspension of most of the tariffs they had imposed on each other in an escalating trade war. A surprisingly strong jobs report off the stock market in the first week of the month with gains. Employers grew their payrolls by 139,000 jobs last month, a better number than analysts were expecting. Although there were manufacturing and federal job cuts in May, hiring in healthcare and leisure and hospitality more than offset the loss. The unemployment rate held at 4.2%. The NASDAQ led the way last week, advancing more than 2%. The S&P gained 1.5%. The Dow rose just over 1%. Rich Hamilton, Washington. Interpol says an investigation will begin in Spain to track child pornography has led to the arrest of 20 people.
The information identified online messaging groups facilitating child sexual exploitation images. Spanish authorities now have arrested 7 suspects, including a healthcare worker and a teacher. The healthcare worker allegedly paid minors in Eastern Europe for explicit images, while the teacher is accused of possessing and sharing child sexual abuse material via various online platforms. Authorities in Latin America arrested 10 others in 7 countries, including 3 in El Salvador and a teacher in Panama. The remaining suspects were arrested in other parts of Europe and the US. I'm Charles Gilbert.
Senate Republicans have made changes to their party's sweeping tax bill in hopes of preserving a new policy that would prevent states from regulating AI. Republicans are proposing to block states from receiving federal funding for broadband if they regulate artificial intelligence.